Hello, everybody. Well, thank you for hanging out. Welcome to Zoe's Treasures and our Friday morning chat. Nothing like a little bit of tech trouble to get you woken up first thing in the morning. Yes, more overtime coming to him. Hello. We got up, we got down to our studio, turning everything on, no internet on anything. So, of course, we freaked out for a little bit, but I think we're back up and running. I'm going to start a giveaway really quick here. Let's get this going back in the right direction. All right, so the giveaway, all the giveaways today are going to be a vintage postcard and a Thanksgiving postcard. So that's what we have today. Those are all the giveaways today. All right, so we got some topics today. And of course, I couldn't get my printer to work, so you're going to have to bear with me on my computer because I've got all my notes here. Few updates. Let's just talk about stuff coming up really quick, and then we'll get into our topics. As always, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. I would much rather answer your questions than go through all my stuff. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Crafty Fairies. I'm glad you liked it. All right, tomorrow is usually my regular weekend show. Good morning, Mrs. Big Papa Pump. How are you today? But I have a cheer competition, not me personally. My daughter has a cheer competition. So we're driving to New Jersey tonight. So my show tomorrow is actually going to be on Sunday. We are doing primitive ironstone, a little bit of salvage on Sunday. Today we're going to be talking about pricing for a profit. So we're going to get there in just a few minutes. Thank you so much on the cheer comp. It's her first one of the season, so they're super excited. They still don't have uniforms. Y'all, I don't know if any of you are cheer moms, just kind of off topic already. We're like 1 minute into this and I'm off topic. But if any of you are cheer moms, are the cheer uniforms not the most ridiculously priced things you have ever had? I just told my daughter last night, I've spent more on her cheer uniform this year than I did on either one of my wedding dresses. They're just crazy. Anyways, so primitive show on Sunday. Hello, Shop Happy. And then Wednesday, I'm going to do an ephemera show. If you guys like vintage Christmas cards and Valentine cards, I have a ton of them coming on next Wednesday. And then kind of the big thing. All the sports nowadays are just crazy expensive. Thank you so much. Exactly. Yeah, Kimmy. So tax show. You will notice that I took my tax show off of Tuesday nights. We're going to combine it with this show. So I have a tax topic we will talk about. I just couldn't do another Tuesday night. I was dead. Come 8:30, 8:45 on Tuesday evenings, I'm ready for bed. So I didn't feel like I was giving it really my all. But I've been fooled before and is already common sense information. Cruise through time. I think my PDFs are full of really good information. They are not just chat GPT type PDFs. They're accumulated from various sources and my experience of over 20 years as a CPA. So my suggestion would be is DM me, Cruise Through Time, your email address. I will email you the free one. Check out the free one. And if you like the free one, you like what you see there, then you can go back and spend money. But that way you can kind of test it out and not be out anything. All right. Tax show. So if you guys have any tax, thank you guys so much for kind of talking about it and saying that you found them useful. If you have any tax questions, accounting questions, feel free to ask. I will be combining some of those topics into my Friday morning shows. I just couldn't do two talk shows a week. It was just getting to be too much for me. But we're not giving them up completely. I still will answer questions. We'll talk about them here. All right. New items in the bin, since we were talking about PDFs. Before we get on to our topic, I did go ahead in the bin and I added some Excel spreadsheets. So I have 3 new ones today. I've never done Excel spreadsheets in the bin because they're touchy, because they have formulas in them. And if you're really great with Excel, you've probably already created your own. So I've been kind of like iffy on whether I wanted to offer Excel spreadsheets. Just know that if you buy them, there are formulas. If you mess up the formula, it gets messed up. So I've tried to make it very clear on what boxes to type in, which ones not to, whatever, but they're there if you are interested. I have one on tracking inventory, tracking income and expenses. And then the other one we will talk about today is the pricing one, which we're going to get to, and I'll actually show you because I want to talk about it as part of our pricing discussion. We'll switch over to it in a little while. Okay. So let's get on to our topic. Good morning, Cynthia Zedek.
Good morning, Miss Cynthia.
Listen to him. Doesn't he sound better? He's like getting better every day. All right. Pricing for profit. This is what I want to talk about today. Um,
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
how do
Welcome
you
in.
how do you guys normally set your prices? Well, there you go, Kimmy. Um, do you have a system? Do you have a method to setting your prices? Is it just kind of willy nilly, like all over the place? You're going to do whatever just kind of feels right at the moment? Um, or do you have like a set? Who's going to get that first giveaway? Rust and Dust Bunnies, congratulations. Thanks for being here. You got that first giveaway. We're going to start another one. All the giveaways, if you're just coming in, are vintage postcard and Thanksgiving postcard. I'll have to show them a few times throughout just to make sure I'm meeting terms
Thank
of
you, Kimmy.
service.
Thank you.
All right. I think my opinion here, now everything we're talking about pricing is my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt, take it for what you will. Keep in mind, I'm a dollar start person. I do everything at a dollar start. I haven't always. I have a history on Whatnot where I've started things anywhere from very low starts. My reverse auctions are a little bit higher starts, but typically my shows are dollar starts. However, pricing is a topic that applies to all of us. But before we can really get into pricing, I think we need to understand the psychology on the other side. We need to understand our buyers, right? Because who are we pricing for? We're pricing for them. So we really need to understand how they're coming to you and what their expectations are. Cruise Through Time says you've been doing cost plus 13% and a few dollars. Okay. So you have a system. That's great. And I think that's where I'm getting at, is just having some methodology to the madness, right? Because pricing's crazy. That, to me, it is the part of any reselling that I hate the absolute most. I would rather ship all day than I would have to price things all day. Part of the reason why I do dollar starts, because I just cannot stand trying to figure out what a price should be. But let's talk about what is the buyer view this as. And I mean, I'm gonna say all of you, most of you probably bought on Whatnot. That's usually how we start. We get hooked, we buy a few things, and we turn into sellers, right? So the psychology behind the buying, when the buyer comes, what they're seeing is that scarcity principle. And excuse me for looking down. I don't have my paper notes. I've got to look at my computer today. So we want to create as sellers a scarcity kind of model where, hey, this is the only one of this that you're going to get, right? Sometimes that's not, depending on what you sell, that's not possible. I Love Discounts, for example, with Mighty Patches. They had, I don't know, 8 million Mighty Patches. So there's no scarcity there. But that's kind of part of what we're playing on when we're selling on Whatnot. We're creating a FOMO, right? The more FOMO, the more that we think something is unique, scarce, and then FOMO, that fear of missing out, that they're not going to get it, the more that builds into our pricing strategy, right? So let's take I Love Discounts, for example. If they're selling Mighty Patches, there's no scarcity there. There's no fear of missing out. People know that they can come back. They've been on for 8 or 9 months, and they've had Mighty Patches the whole time. The best way to create FOMO, my opinion, is through that scarcity, is through, hey, this is the only one I have. I'm not going to have another one of this. I've only seen one more. When I was looking up comps, I couldn't even find any of these. So using that kind of, and not lying or being deceitful, but expressing that this isn't something they're going to walk over to Dollar General or to Target and just pick off the shelf, right? That, hey, if they don't buy it now, they're probably not going to get it. So that's how we're creating that FOMO, is this is your only chance, right? I'm sorry, my husband's over here whispering to me and I cannot understand one word he is saying. What is that you'd like to add, my love?
So, create the FOMO, not only mentioning the uniqueness of the item at hand, but the opportunity that they have at the price that you're offering it at the moment.
All right. So, I do that. Okay, so we have Winter Wolf Arts. I want to say Wolf Farts. I'm sure it's Wolf Arts Garden. I do that with my rare photo pothos plants. I propagate and will tell them it is the only one, and I won't be. There you go. That's it. I mean, who doesn't? Do you get that? Okay, sorry. I try to read too fast. I mean, think of you as a buyer. If you think this is the only one and you really want it, because why? Because it creates an emotion. It creates this nostalgic Maybe I'm showing you a mixing bowl, and that mixing bowl looks just like the one you used to bake cookies with your grandma. All of a sudden you want it. I've already created that want. This is the only mixing bowl I have today, and I'm talking about it. So you're like, oh, wow. And then it's creating that feeling. All of a sudden, the more feeling you have as a buyer, the more connection you have to that item, the higher the price is in your head that you're willing to pay. It all of a sudden goes from, oh, there's a mixing bowl, cute, I paid $5 for it. Oh, wow, that's the exact same mixing bowl I used with grandma when I was a kid and we'd bake those really good chocolate chip cookies every Christmas. Now all of a sudden you're willing to pay $8, $9, $10. And then they start talking about it and they show how perfect it is. And you're like, oh, maybe a little bit more. Top secret deals. Congratulations. You got that next giveaway. So creating that FOMO is that connection. It's that desire. It's the feeling that we're creating in that buyer that increases the price of an item. Even if you're starting things at $1, it increases the higher bidding that's going to happen. So when we talk about the bidding and we look at the competitive, what we call competitive bidding. So people have a psychological need to win. I don't care who you are. A lot of people will be like, oh, it's okay. I don't care if I win. I'm just here for the experience. As soon as we see something we want to win. That's part of human nature. Now, it may be a lot stronger desire with certain things. So I could go into a card show and have zero desire to win because I don't know the first dang thing about cards, right? Not my thing. But if I go into a vintage decor show, if I'm sitting in Southern Charms room, I'm like, oh, I want that, right? And I have that desire to win. Ownership of the item at that point. Kimmy, you hit right on it. We're about to get onto phantom ownership, which is something Green 13 talks a lot about. We'll get there. So having that desire to win against other people, sometimes it's not even the item. Sometimes it's just that slot machine effect of, I just want to win. I'm just going to keep hitting bidding until my name pops up there on the screen, right?
Hello, Millicent.
It's that adrenaline rush. So that's kind of when you're thinking from your buyer. Now, the reason we're talking about this before we talk about numbers and pricing is because we want to understand what our buyers are going through in order to price appropriately. So we can play off of that, right? When you see competitive bidding happening on an item, so, I have this postcard and people are going crazy. I don't know what it is about this postcard, but they're just bidding it up. What do I want to do as a seller? Pick up another postcard, right? Maybe start it a little bit higher or bundle it with something because I know that pricing, I know they're going to bid it up because we're looking at the behaviors of the buyer. So the next kind of psychological thing I want to talk about, and we're going to get to the phantom ownership, is anchoring. So this is a kind of a double-edged sword when we talk about anchoring. The price you set gives a perception immediately to your buyer, especially if the buyer has no other like nostalgic connection to your item. So I can pick this up and I can hold this mug and I can say, what is the best thing to sell in here? I'm a new seller. What are good prices? Chucky, hang out. We're gonna talk about pricing in a second. So keep listening, and then we'll if you still have questions, we'll put them in there in a little bit. But hang out because I think we may answer them kind of through our discussion here. I can pick this up and I can tell you, hey, look at this mug. This is a great mug, and I have it started for $1. And when you see a starting bid, the anchoring effect from a buyer's perspective means that the starting price kind of determines your value of an item. And I'm going to talk, like I said, it's a double-sided sword, so we're going to get to that. So think about it like this. When you walk into Dollar General, everything's $1.25, right? At least they charge $1.25 here. I'm not sure if that's the same way across the country. Trust your selling power. That is such a good thing, Shop Happy. I agree with that. But our starting bids can help it. Our starting prices influences a buyer's perception of the value of an item. This is part of why understanding our buyers and our starting prices are so important. If you start something always at $1, I'm gonna backtrack on this, but when you see something started at $1, $2, or $3, instantly, as humans, we don't place a high value on there. We'll see something started at $1, $2, $3, and we're like, yeah, it's probably worth 10, maybe 15. But if we see something priced at 20 or 30, we're like, oh wow, what is that? That must be really nice, right? It's the same effect as like having a brand sticker on something, having a Fenton label on it, or having a Louis Vuitton tag on something. Instantly creates, it's like an anchoring in your head. It creates a value for you as the buyer. So how you can say, I'm starting this $30 mug for $1. There you go. Perfect example. I am, by telling you this is a $30 mug, and I love that example. Thank you so much for putting that in there. By telling you it's a $30 mug, I'm helping you establish the value of this item. Now, I'm not one for like doing, oh, I saw this on eBay for $85, or I saw it for 85 and I'm going to give it to you for 40. I don't quite like that type of selling very much. That's my own personal opinion. However, if you have unique items that people may not realize the value, sometimes it's your job as a seller to set that anchoring in their head by saying something like, hey, this is a $30 mug and I'm going to start it for $1 or $5. Let's see. Vintage, Dollar Tree, but no, the dollar items up to $2, then other items up from there. More in the $5. But yes, okay. What do you do if you have something that is pieces on other apps for like 100? As a new seller just dabbling with vintage, I don't think I would get it. What do you do if you have something that is, that's priced for 100 on the other? We're going to talk about this in a minute. I am a firm believer that no matter what the other apps say, the buyer creates the price on whatnot. That's why I start things at $1. I can tell you till I'm blue in the face that something's worth whatever dollar amount. It sells on the other app for whatever dollar amount. If my buyer sitting in my room wanted to pay that price, they would have already bought it on the other app. They wouldn't be here looking at my item right now. If they wanted this mug so bad and it was $50 on eBay, they would have already bought it on eBay for $50. They're not here to pay eBay prices. They're here to get a deal. Doesn't mean we need to cut ourselves short. That's not what I'm implying. But this mug is only worth what somebody's going to pay for it. Let me give you a perfect example. We're gonna play a game here real quick. All right, most of you may not be vintage people. Some of you may. I have 2 Butter Pats here, okay? 2 Butter Pats. Let's see, this one, I'm not selling them. This is an example. I don't know who makes it. 2 beautiful Butter Pats. What would you pay for them? Real quick, throw it in the chat. What would you pay for these? Not as a seller. What would you pay as a buyer? What's the highest price you would pay for 2 Butter Pats? All right, look at my point exactly. We have everywhere from 0, 1, 8, 10, 25. All right, so this is my point. The value isn't with me. I would probably say these are worth about $16 together if I sold them together. But if I put $16, how many people would I have just wiped out because only a few people said they were worth over $16? The value of an item is not driven by you as a seller. I don't care how much time you put into the item. I don't care how much sweat you sweated going out there and getting it, how early you got up, how long you spent shopping, because your buyer doesn't look at any of that. Your buyer can care less if you spent all day on Saturday going from thrift store to antique store to get the perfect item. But as a seller, what would I pay? I try not to pay any more than $5 for any item I get as a seller. But sourcing is completely different. The price I pay for sourcing is completely different than the price I pay as a buyer, or the price I'm going to put in as a seller. So the point I'm trying to make is that your starting price, you want to create a starting price that is not too high, doesn't get people, like, forget that. If I would have started those at $16, half of you would have been like, yeah, no, thank you. If I start them at $1, I may give you that perception of, oh, are they really even worth anything at all? So the starting price is, it's hard, right? This is why I hate I hate pricing. This is why I do dollar starts. So here's the other side of it, because I said this was a double-edged sword, this kind of anchoring perception. So there is studies that have shown that the lower starting bids, the lower you start an item, the higher it sells for. This is not on every single item. But if we go back to that competitive bidding and the phantom ownership, the minute somebody bids on something, if the entry point, your starting bid, the entry to play the game, right? So whatever that first swipe is, $1, $2, $3, $5, whatever it is low enough, immediately you create phantom ownership, which means I've swiped, that's my item now. Whether I've won it or not, psychologically, that is mine. Then Sally comes over here and Sally swipes, and I'm like, hell no, Sally, that's mine. I swipe again. That's that phantom ownership, which then creates that competitive bidding where we see it going up and up. Studies have shown that the lower your price, the lower that entry point, that starting bid is, the more of this kind of competitive bidding will occur. Number of buyers in your shows, it does to some degree, Rust and Dust Bunnies. I do agree. And I'm not sitting here, please do not get me wrong. I am not saying everybody needs to go do dollar starts. We're going to actually talk about like pricing models in a minute, but I'm just making the point that the lower you go, it doesn't have to be $1. It could be $5. Just because you think something is worth $16 doesn't mean your buyers are going to think that. And just because you put blood, sweat, and tears into that, your buyers don't care about that. Have you ever gone to, let's just say Walmart, and you're going through and you get a mug and they're, you're at the checkout, you're putting it all on the conveyor belt and you're like, oh, wow. They only priced that mug at $5, but I know there was somebody overseas had to make it. Then they had to put it on the cargo ship. And then, those poor guys on the dock having to unload it in the heat or the cold. And then the guy in the back room, man, I know he's back there sweating all day long and he barely doesn't get paid nothing. And then the guy who had to stock the shelves, geez, I know they only asking $5, but wow, that's really worth $80. We don't think like that, right? Because we don't care. And I hear this all the time. This is such, like, you could tell me I'm getting animated here. This is such a sticky point for me because I hear sellers say this all the time. Well, my times were something. Well, I sweated all day, or I got up super early and I did this and I spent all this. I don't care. And your buyers don't care. You love animated Jay-Z. They don't. All they care about is the price they're paying and if they're getting a good deal. So, at the end of the day, it's the buyer's perception of the value. What are we doing with our pricing is trying to create that mindset. So that's where I'm leading up to all of this, talking about like how the buyer feels, is creating that mindset. It is tricky.
Very true, Miss Hyperfixated Mama. And that's why you can see that after Halloween, all the Halloween costumes go on sale. Or after Christmas, all the Christmas trees and the Christmas lights go on sale. And whatever seasonal, they need to move that inventory.
All right. So let's talk about some actual numbers. So knowing your numbers. One of the things we want to make sure when we're pricing, we're getting into actual, like, how do we price stuff, right? We need to know what it cost us. Obviously, before we can price it, we need to know what it cost us. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring up a spreadsheet here and we're going to walk through a couple so you can actually see numbers on paper. Space is money. Absolutely. We need to know what our fees are. What is Whatnot charging us? Because I could pay $10 for something and sell it for $10. And I'm like, okay, well, at least I didn't lose any money. Wrong. You've lost money because we're not counting in that the 8%, the 2.9%, and the 30 cents that Whatnot charges us, right? So we need to know what our fees are. We need what we paid, what our fees are. We talked about time. I don't believe in time. That's my personal opinion. If you believe your time is worth something, then you need to know what your hourly rate is and figure out how you're going to put that hourly rate into your items. I think you're going to end up seeing that you really can't, and your items are going to be extraordinarily high priced. And then our profit margin. How much money do we need to make on this? Am I looking at, I need to make a 20% profit margin? Do I need to make a 50% profit margin? Do you do an average cost of goods sold? I do an average cost of goods sold for mine. I do some specific cost of goods on my high-end items, but usually I do an average because I'll buy things in huge lots. Um, I kind of do a mixture of things. But for the most part, I'll do an average. So if I buy 80 items and I paid, I don't know, $800, it's $10 an item. I would never pay that much, but just to give you an example, even if some are worth, some were technically higher priced and some were lower priced, I'll do averages on mine because I'm buying in usually larger quantities. Hourly rate for buying, selling $5 an hour. That's pretty darn cheap. They need to get for it. As a buyer, I never mind when a seller starts an item at the minimum they need to get for it. Exactly. And I'm not here to tell you what to start your items for. That's a personal decision and a business strategy for each and every seller. I'll talk about why I chose my strategy, and I'll talk about different models, which we'll get to in a minute. But before you can get there, you've got to understand the numbers. So that's kind of the point I'm making. Let's talk about profit margin really quick. We need to know how much margin we want to make. So think about 100%. Okay, so you have 100%. If you're paying 50% for the item, now I have 50% left. I want to make our whatnot fees are about 15%. Now I'm down to 35%. My administrative cost is 20%. So now I'm down to a 15% profit margin, right? When I'm talking about administrative cost, I'm talking about all the back end stuff. So after you're shipping all of that, your supplies, your labels for your printer, your electricity, all those expenses that are what we call below the line. So everything else, not what the cost of goods is. So if you think you have this piece of a pie, let's just kind of talk about the time. We have this pie and you're dividing it into chunks. You're going to end up with the chunk that's your profit chunk, right? What do you want that to be? The only way to make that profit chunk bigger is to decrease the other pieces of pie that you're dishing out. The piece that you're dishing to whatnot. We don't control that. That's going to be about 15%. I'll explain that in a minute. You're never going to change that, right? Whatnot sets that. You have no control over that unless you take advantage of the days that they lower fees. You know, every now and then they'll lower a fee for a special like holiday or something. So you're never going to change that. You can change your administrative cost. You can control that to make your profit bigger. And you can change your sourcing. So just think about whatever your profit margin is that you want to get out of items. If I'm only getting 5% profit margin out of all my items, is it really worth it in the big scheme of things? Am I making enough money for everything? So understanding those numbers before you start pricing is super important. Oh, cool. Hyperfixated mama. Thank you. I'm glad that I try to do analogies when I can. Sometimes they're great ones. Other times people are like, what the hell are you talking about, Tracy? So let's just look at some of the pricing here. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to go over to a spreadsheet. So you're not going to see me. You're going to see a spreadsheet. This is actually the pricing spreadsheet that I've created. And I want to do it to kind of give you an example. So I have two different models here. The model at the top is starting with our cost. Let's say I have a $10 item, cost me $10, and I want to make twice the amount. I want to double my price. So I want my markup to be 2 times that price. That gives me a listing price of $20, okay? So I start with my $10 is what I paid, and I want to make at least 2 times. Where is this popular? You guys see this all the time. When people are out live shopping, they're like, oh, I'm just going to double the price. You see this. They're in Goodwill, they're at TJ Maxx, and they're like, oh, this is $5. Okay, I'll sell it to you for 10. That's double the price, right? So if we're doubling the price, that means the list price is going to be 20 in this example. Then we have fees. The fees I'm estimating at 15% because our 8% whatnot, 2.9 for processing, and 30 cents. I know that doesn't equal 15, but hear me out. I'm using 15 for a couple of reasons. 1, to be conservative. And 2, 15%, you never know what the shipping and the taxes are. That's based on where the buyer is located at. So the 15% kind of covers a broad range. It's an average. Do you sell from the buy it now often? Moody, I do when I have it stocked up appropriately. All right, so I'm using a 15%, and these numbers are rounded. So just know that we're rounding up to the next whole dollar to make it, one, easy to understand, two, what not works in whole dollars very well. So let's think about what our break-even price is. What if I buy a $10 item in this example? Remember, I paid $10. My break-even price, the bare minimum that I can sell that for, would be $13. My cost of goods and my fees. That's my break-even. That means I'm going to walk away not owing anything. Keystone in retail. Is it? Oh, Don, I did not know that. Thank you so much. That's great information. So at a minimum, my $10 item has to sell for 13. Okay. Now, but I don't want to sell it for 13. I want to sell it for 20, right? Because I want to double it. So if I sell it for 20, I can come back over here and my gross profit based on the listing price less my fees would be $7. If I sold my item for 20, I would make 7, which is a 35% profit margin. So this spreadsheet is going to tell you, if you're starting with cost, this is the first model, $10, and I want a markup of 2. Let's see if I can change this. How do I work my iPad? Honey, can I change this number?
Yes.
How? Oh, there we go. All right. If I want to change this number to, let's say I want make this 3 times. Great. It's not going to work, is it? Okay, there we go. So if I want to say 3 times my markup, you'll see everything else will change. Now I want a 30% or $30 listing price. My fees have increased. That's based on net. It's based on net, correct. My break even now has gone up because my fees have gone up. And my gross profit margin has also gone up. And my margin after fees to 52. So this is a good way to try to understand a basic pricing model if you're starting with cost and you're looking at a 2 or 3 or 4 times the amount. The next model we're going to talk about is starting with your profit margin in mind. Maybe I just don't think my brain doesn't work 2, 3, 4 times. I know I need to make 30% profit. Bottom line, I can't take anything less than 30% profit. I do. It is the pricing worksheet in the bin.
Good morning. I love discounts.
Good morning. So I work more from a profit margin perspective. If I have an item that cost me $10 and I want a 30% profit margin, my listing price is going to be 15. It's going to calculate my fees. My break even doesn't change. That's the same regardless. And look at this. After fees, my profit margin is only 18%. So if I'm thinking that I want a 30% profit margin and I price my item based on 30% here, after fees, I'm really not making 30%. So you can change this to, okay, well, I need a 50% and I can't work my iPad. So we're going to go back to the other one. You want to switch cameras back, honey? Thank you. Okay. So the main point that I wanted to make here is you can look at this in a couple of different ways. And there are other ways to price things. Those are just 2 that I've put on a spreadsheet. Doesn't mean that's the only way. You can look at it like, okay, I'm just going to do everything I buy. Let's keep this simple because I believe in making all your systems as simple as possible. It's all, yeah, everything's in the bin. And real quick, I'm sorry, I'm going to do another giveaway because I forget to do those. Okay.
If you purchase any of the PDFs or the spreadsheet from the bin, please send us a DM with your email address so we can send you an email with the attachments.
So whichever way your brain works, and again, this is only 2 models. You may just be I just want to say, okay, if I buy something, I'm going to sell it for 2 or 3 times the amount. This is an easy way to figure that out. If your brain works more of the opposite side, bin number, let's see. It is the spreadsheet, if I can, here it goes, is bin number, I want to say 8 or 9. Let me look.
Yeah, 9.
Number 9. 009. Maybe you want to go for more of a profit margin. Maybe you kind of got a good grasp on your numbers. You know you need to make a certain profit margin. So in order to do that, no matter what you pick up an item at, you want to be able to price it appropriately. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you're like, heck with this. I don't like trying to figure all this stuff out. I deal with hundreds of items a week. This takes too much time to try to figure out all this pricing. My buyer is going to determine the price of the item anyways. I don't want to exclude people because I price too high. I don't want people to think my stuff's cheap because I price too low. I'm going to start everything at $1 because we know in auctions dollars work, right? Or maybe you're just like, okay, dollars freak me out. I'm going to start everything at $3 or $5. So there's not just one pricing model. What I do suggest is you find what works for you and stick to it until you decide it doesn't work anymore and you make a business decision to do things a little differently. But if you're all over the board, one, you're going to have a hard time evaluating if it works right. So if you're like, okay, I'm always going to do 2 times the amount, I'm always going to double it. And then next week you're like, no, I don't like that. I'm going to do 50% profit margin. No, I don't like that. I'm going to do everything at $2. You're never going to have time to see how it works, right? To absolutely suggest pick some type of a pricing strategy, try it out for 3, 4, 5 shows. I mean, unless you're really like losing your butt, obviously sometimes you just need to stop the bleeding, but try it out for enough shows that you can get data to say, you know what, this feels good. It seems to be working. I'm making some money. Or, no, this one just isn't working for me. I need to readjust my pricing strategy. Thank you guys for your purchase from the bins. If you're purchasing the PDFs and Excels, I will be sending those out after the show. Some of the other things, I think I can count on one hand how many times people have bid against each other. It happens, Moody. You'll get there. I still have a lot of my items that 2 people have bid. Okay. You'll see it a lot if somebody requests, or 1 person. You'll see it a lot if somebody requests something, then it's like everybody else is like, oh, Bob requested that. I can't bid on it, which isn't true, but you'll get there, Moody. Okay. Some of the other pricing strategies, other things that you may want to mix in. So you get your base strategy, right? The more curated the bin, the more requests. That's a good point. Absolutely. You have your base pricing strategy, whatever it is that's going to work for you. And you may have come up with something else, like Southern Charm. I don't know if you want to pitch in. You don't have to tell us all your secrets if you're here. I know she has multiple booths. She may have a pricing strategy that works for her booths, but would never work on Whatnot. Or maybe it's the same across all platforms. So it's a little bit different. I don't price the same on every platform. I price differently for Whatnot than I do for eBay or Etsy, because usually on eBay or Etsy, I can get higher prices. People will pay more. People on eBay and Etsy see a higher value in the items than people on Whatnot. So there's Southern Tribes, she priced higher in her booths. So that's like me on Etsy. Sometimes, let's see, I find asked for something, no others bid me up. Now others bid you up. Bob requested that. I'm not letting him get that. That's right. That's that ownership thing, right? That's that phantom ownership that Jeremy talks about. It is. So it's like when you're pricing on Whatnot, you can't just come over, and I think this is where some people struggle on Whatnot, is they've sold on other sites, and it's very different. A lot of the other sites are the static listings, and you see, I'm going to put it for $100, and it may never sell for that here on Whatnot. Do I have a process where I sell the items? I do. So most of my stuff will go on Whatnot first. Tracy Urania says for me, no one bid. That's not true. Don't listen to I Love Discounts. Nerf Herder, you got that giveaway. Congratulations. So I put mostly everything on Whatnot. If I feel that I cannot start it at $1, then it goes into my reverse auctions where I can start it at a higher cost. If it does not sell here on Whatnot, that's when it then goes to the other platforms for me. I used to do it differently. I used to do hit all of the platforms at the same time. I use Vendoo to cross list, and I used to cross list everything at the same time. Over the course of the last year, that shifted to where my main focus is Whatnot, and then what doesn't sell on Whatnot or what may be higher, I sell on. I'll also list on other platforms in addition to listing on Whatnot.
Pengy Patterns. If you would like to check out the reverse auction, it's in YouTube. I'm gonna put the YouTube channel now, and There was one about a month ago, I want to say, maybe.
November 1st, we did a reverse auction. It's on YouTube.
You can check it out right there on our YouTube channel, and you can see how it works.
All right. So let's see what I forget where I was. Oh, we were talking about is Whatnot is not the same as other platforms. Yeah. So other strategies for pricing. You have your base strategy, whatever that may be. But then you may also, like in your base strategy, work in what's called tiered pricing. So maybe in your shows you have some $1 to $3 items, some $5 to $8 items, and some $10 to $20 items. So maybe you have, low, medium, and high, and you're mixing them up in your show. I personally love that approach. If you're not like just doing a dollar start person, I love the tiered approach because I think it appeals to buyers of all budgets. So no matter if I'm here to spend $100 or if I'm here to spend $5, I may find something in your show. I really like that approach.
Tegan's, Christelle's Vintage, she does an excellent job on CSV files, which is a template that is offered by Whatnot for free. You can download the template. And if you attend one of her shows, Christelle, if you're here, can you say hi?
I love discounts. Put her name in the chat there too.
There it is. So yeah, she's excellent. She will explain to you how to upload utilizing the CSV files.
There you go. And she has a show tonight. So anybody else who's interested, I'm just quick side note here. Well worth it. Go see Christelle's Vintage Collection. Learn how to do CVS uploads. I've gotten away from doing so much pre-listing, but when I do, this is the only way I'll do it now. It is fast. You blow right through it. It is so much better than, taking your picture, typing it in. It goes so much faster. 100% worth it. Go see Christelle's and learn how to do this. It's not difficult, and she also explains it. She'll go through step by step by step. Yes, this will be on YouTube, so feel free. It'll be there as soon as we're done. I don't know if we're multicasting. Did we multicast any? Yeah. Yes, we multicast. It's there.
Yes, we're multicasting today.
So once you get your pricing strategy down, you can mix in there. Good morning, a reworker's passion. You can mix in there tiered pricing where you're doing low, medium, high pricing. You can also kind of mix in some seasonal pricing.
Good morning, Miss Leslie.
There, right before and after holidays, Christmas, you may raise your prices. My husband's telling me to stop. Oh, there you go. Real quick, back to Christelle's. This is her show, you guys. This is who we were just talking about. She also put her name in the chat, but there you go. Go check that out. I keep telling him to get rid of that dang bubble. So seasonal pricing. This is my annoyed face, honey, just in case you're not looking at me. Right before or after Christmas, maybe you're going to up your prices for your Christmas items. I know Christmas seems to sell year round, but seasonal, before Easter, maybe we're upping prices on our Easter stuff. So just because you have, I'm going to do 2 times, or I'm going for a profit margin, or I'm a dollar seller, doesn't mean that you can't mix in some of these other techniques to help get the best prices that you can. Scarcity prices. This is what we were talking about earlier. When you can create that FOMO, when you can create that they're afraid of missing out, this is a one of a kind, this is a unique item, you could probably charge a little bit more because the feeling that you're invoking in that buyer of, I'm going to miss this. If this is the only time I'm ever going to get it. How many of you, let's just think about this in real life. Do you go to a store, you're not really planning on buying anything, but you're just wandering around Target and you happen by the clearance rack in the, women's clothing, and you're like, dang, look at that pair of jeans. It's only $8 on the clearance rack. They only have one in my size. If I leave here, it's not going to be here tomorrow. I have to buy it because it's not going to be here, right? It's the same thing with what we're selling. If you create that feeling in a buyer, pricing at the end of the day comes back to the feeling that the buyer has. Because remember, the buyer is going to set that price, right? The buyer they create the value. I don't care what the value is that I create. It's the value that the buyer creates. So the more you're helping drive those feelings in the buyer, the higher the prices you're going to get for your items. And then bundling. Bundling is such a great technique that you can use throughout your shows with your pricing. I do it all the time as a dollar start person because I can start. We already talked about butter pats, right? We determined that the chat was willing to pay anywhere from $1. Some people could have cared less to, some people are like 0, I don't like butter pats at all, to $25 for 2 butter pats. And you've seen it. If you go into vintage shows, you have seen, I'm sure I have at least, a butter pat that may sell for $3. And then you go into somebody else's show and it's selling for $18. One of these, right? And if you go and look now, if you did a quick search, I'm sure you would see these listed on average anywhere from $5 to $8 each, okay? Hens on a nest. Oh my God, hens on a nest are another perfect example, right? Who else saw House of Coop show, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and they had like 300 hens on a nest? I think people were talking about it for weeks. Yeah, those were crazy. There we go. People were talking about it for weeks afterwards. They're like, I had the same hen. I didn't get $300 for my hen. They created that feeling in the buyer. Again, the buyer creates the value. Maybe your buyers didn't feel that that value was there. I can go on and on about creating how you create that value with your buyers, because it doesn't tie back in just to pricing. It's to your whole experience. That's not today's topic, but we talked about these. If I sell just one, I'm a dollar start person. I put this up for $1. I may get $6 to $10. Just depending who's in the room, who wants it, right? If I put 2, I'm almost guaranteed to get upwards of 15. For me, it's better to bundle. Now you're like, okay, Trace, but if you got 10 for 1, now you're getting 15 for 2. I may not get 10. I find when I bundle things together, it creates more value for the buyer. They feel like, oh, I'm not getting 1, I'm getting 2, or I'm getting 3. Yeah, okay, bid. That competitive bidding then kicks in. That psychological effects that we talked at the beginning start coming into play. For me, do you think I should show the glasses in one show and mention that I'll be selling them in another and have them bookmark that show? If people are buying and they're interested in one show, I try to keep it all in one show. But I guess it would depend. I guess I would need more information. I don't totally know what you're referring to. I've seen hens go for $3 to $450. Exactly. Winter Wolf Arts Gardens. I got it right this time. When people are used to you selling an item at a certain price and you need to raise your prices, what's the best way to handle this? My personal opinion on this is to slowly raise your prices. If you're normally selling something for $5, but you as a buyer realize, hey, I really need to sell this for $8, maybe go in increments or just rip the Band-Aid off and make it $8. I feel there's a good, buyers react well to transparency. Like, y'all, I used to sell these for $5 a piece. I was losing my tail on these. I lost money every single time. These are worth more money, in my opinion. I'm going to have to sell them at $8. So maybe sometimes it's just, depending on what the item is. Let me see. I found my items perceived value increase when I did individual listings with clear photos versus random pulls, so it will sell higher. I totally agree. I prefer, and I wish I can get back to it, having good pre-listed items with photos. Because I'm like, if I take pictures of these butter pats, I don't need to grab them again, and I pre-list them, I will take 3 or 4 pictures. You're going to see the front, you're going to see the back. As a buyer, I can take my time, I can zoom in, I can really see if there's cracks, I can see who makes it, I can look at the design, the pattern, all of that stuff to help me. The more I'm looking at those pictures, the more I'm starting to get invested, right? Think about it like when you're on Amazon and you're shopping and you see something you like, maybe you don't need, but you see something you like on Amazon and you're like, ooh, I really like that. The longer you spend looking at the pictures and zooming in and reading the description, the more invested you start to feel in that product, right? The more you want that product. So you have a totally good point, Secondhand Serenade. When you ask your buyers if anyone is interested, you have exactly, oh my gosh, yes. Top secret deals. Yeah, I totally agree. So So list in the bin with your perceived value price and then auction it at. Oh, I like that. I love discounts.
So sometimes I love discounts. When she has something in the bin and it's requested, I often tell her to give a discount, and so that provides the person who might be interested with an opportunity to get a better deal.
So think about it like this, and this is something, if you've been at my shows for a while, you'll see, or you've probably seen me do this multiple times. I'll list it in the bin. If it goes in the bin, it's at a higher price because there's no possibility of it being bid up, right? I'm going to put it in there what I feel is a comparable to what other sites are selling, maybe at a discount. I never do eBay prices. I usually go lower. Yes, you can. Patterns, you can switch from bin to auction right in the middle. You can go ahead and auction off your bin items. If something's requested from the bin, I've handled it two ways. A lot of times I will say, oh, thank you for requesting that. I had a 15 in the bin. I'm going to run it for 10 today. One, if they've already asked me for it, this is somebody that's pretty much invested in this item to some degree, right? There's already some feeling for that potential buyer because they've gone to the point of asking. There's interest, okay? Me lowering the price almost just seals the deal immediately because they're interested. Now are they not only interested, but I'm going to get it for $5 less than the cost I thought I was going to pay for it. I know some of you are sitting there saying, but they would have paid 15. Why lower it to 10? It's like a seal the deal. It's like it's that end thing that they're like, oh yes. Also, if I'm running it at an auction, there is a chance that other people will bid on it, which frequently for me seems to happen. So it's an experience you're coming back for. There you go. The other thing, the other night I tried this. This was new for me. I wasn't quite prepared for this, but I kind of winged it. I don't know if I liked it or not. I've tried this once. So I typically do dollar starts. I was on a raid train, 15-minute raid train the other night. I ended up having to go on early. So I ended up with 25-minute spot because the person before me had an emergency. So I didn't have enough auction items. I had some bin stuff sitting, thank God, on the shelf behind me. So I ran through all my auction items and I still had time. I started pulling items out of the bin. I would pin it. The pinned price would show it was a $65 item. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys, I'm crazy. I'm going to run it for $1. I'm like half and half on if that worked well for me. There is new data that suggests the algorithm pushes sellers who have items listed. Is there really? That's interesting. I wouldn't, Millicents, I wouldn't be surprised because of their connection with Google and the trying to get more advertising and advertising our items out on Google. That does not surprise me if that's happening. Yep, there you go. Somebody else is saying, yeah, that makes sense with Google. Yeah. So when you're thinking about pricing, it's something you can change at the last minute. We were talking about bundling. Well, that's what sellers listed items are pushed to people. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about some common mistakes. Common mistakes with pricing. Pricing emotionally instead of strategically. When does this happen? If these were my great grandma's butter pats that she had displayed in her house the whole time I was growing up, and every time Sunday night dinners, and I would see these butter pats, and great grandma passed away a few years ago, and she means so much to me, but I'm going to sell these butter pats. These are totally worth like $100 because do you know how much great grandma loved these? You can't price emotionally. They're objects. Well, you know what this is? You know how you have to look at? There's no emotions in objects. That's it right there. There's no, you know how you have to look at everything? It is not a butter pat. It is not a mug. It is a dollar sign. This is $1. This is money in your bank. That's all it is. People say, sell what you love. I'm on the fence with that because one, I do find selling what you love is easier to sell because I get genuinely excited about the items. I could pick up anything, any type of vintage decor and be like, oh, check this out. This is a Limoges, and get excited about it. But you also, if you sell with what you love, you may tend to get too emotional about it, thus affect your pricing. Why is she selling grandma stuff? Every time I spend $1, I ask myself, how many hours do I have to work for that? Exactly. It's all business. If you sell what you love, if you don't have attachment issues, there you go. Tony loves selling health and beauty. I have been venturing into ephemera because I want to get into categories. I want to branch out from just vintage decor. And ephemera, one, it stores easy. It's easy to ship, right? I don't get excited about it. If you've been in my ephemera shows, you will quite frequently see, I see that, my love, thank you. You'll quite frequently see me at the end be like, okay, here's all of it. I'm done. Here's all of it, $1, because I get bored so easy. If you've just started and don't have no followers and want to start dollar starts, what would you do without followers? Love and tall. Loving it all. There we go. Got it. Took me a second. My advice is, and this may be different than other people's, I would not recommend to a brand new seller to start doing dollar starts right out of the gate. I think you need to pick a pricing strategy, stick with it for a little while, and slowly move to a dollar starts. You need to understand your audience. You need to understand the environment you're selling in. Get some data before you go to dollar starts. That's my opinion. If you want to start with dollar starts right out of the gate, I would suggest that you make sure you have some reserve. It's going to take a little bit if you're not coming over here with a following. If you're starting from scratch, starting from zero, have some reserves. Know that you may take losses for 2 or 3 months while you're building your following, while you're building that audience and you're getting your tribe together. That's my advice. Looking at Valentine. Oh. So source really cheap in bulk. Just have the need to get rid of items and make money. So don't do dollar starts. There you go. The natural state of high summed it up very quickly right there. So yeah, that's dollar starts. So pricing emotionally, huge mistake. I'm gonna start another giveaway really quick while this is going. Okay, all the giveaways are 2 postcards, a Thanksgiving and a vintage one. Ignoring your shipping or your fees. I showed you the spreadsheet. I'm counting fees into everything I do because there is nothing that I'm going to sell that they're not going to take their cut. They're going to get their cut from everything. So make sure you're thinking of those fees when you're doing your pricing and you're considering that. If I sell something for $1 as a dollar start person and somebody buys it for $1, which does happen, I lose money. I know that. For me, it's a law of averages. And overall, if I'm looking at a full show, I'm okay. I could take a loss on a few items. Do you ever give out coupons to customers who mod for you, a way to say thank you? I give out coupons all the time. So usually my husband mods. I love discounts in Southern Charm, and Brittany Be With Her have helped me mod before. But I give out coupons all the time, so I can't say I specifically give them just to people who mod. Ricky Relics, I sell mid-range and fine jewelry. I've never done a dollar start. I started at the minimum I can accept without taking a loss. November 23rd is my first anniversary. And that's wonderful. If it works for you, I am not one to sit here and tell you you have to do dollar starts. What I will tell you is to find a strategy that fits within the goals you're trying to achieve as a business and stick with that strategy and go do it for a while till you have enough data to evaluate it, and change is necessary to continue on the path to your goals. Yes, coupons are my favorite thing. I will talk about coupons all day, so I'm trying not to divert myself. We're talking about common mistakes you make in pricing. We talked about emotional, ignoring shipping and fees. Don't ignore that. If you are doing reduced or free shipping, there's a cost to that. Remember I talked about you look at your pie and you're taking all the percentages and you have your profit margin, your administrative cost. Shipping, if you're doing reduced or free shipping, shipping is part of that pie. That's a certain percentage that's coming out of that. Thank you, Monster Mama. If you're doing the reduced or free, you've got to consider that, because if you're doing free shipping, I spend about 35 to 38% of my profit on shipping. If you look at 100%, okay, let's do 100%. I'm going to round it to 40 to make the math easy. I take 100% of my profit, 40% goes to shipping, that leaves me 60. Maybe another 30% goes to cost of goods sold. Now I'm down to, I have 30 left. 15 goes to whatnot fees. Now I'm down to 15. I haven't even talked about administrative cost yet, or my profit margin, right? You've got to understand how all of these little pieces make up your pie. On coupons, let's see, what is the loss ledger says? On coupons, when Whatnot says put, an example in notes, do you include the quotation marks? No, do not include the quotation marks. I do not, if I don't do max shipping and someone buys a lot of things, will it be super expensive for them, or is Whatnot cap it at $9.21 to £5? Whatnot caps it at $9.21 to the £5 unless you're using like the flat rate. So it depends on your shipping settings, but yes, they will cap it at $9.21 to £5. And then after they hit £5, they'll start to incrementally add more shipping back on for your customer.
Good morning, Miss Amanda.
So making sure that you're considering that when you're doing your free or reduced. I'm going to go back to a show I did a while ago about knowing your analytics. If you're doing reduced, and that's what I'm going to focus on because that's what a lot of people will do is reduce shipping or max. Same thing when you're capping it. When you're saying this is the most a buyer is going to pay and I as a seller are going to pay anything over that amount. There's a certain percent that you are paying per show. You should be tracking that. You should know what that percent is. And when you're looking at your pricing and you're looking at your pie, you should be taking that into consideration. The only way you're going to know what that percent is by looking at your analytics and tracking your numbers. A show on shipping would be helpful. I may do one. I try to shy away from too much shipping because there's some really great people on here that do shipping shows. Is it A Living Bliss or just Living Bliss? Living Bliss Vintage. On Friday, she does a shipping show, so probably around 10 or 11. She starts maybe noon. There it is right there. Thank you, Out and About Vintage. Hodgepodge Place has a YouTube that's like 2 hours long, and I also think House of Coop has a YouTube, and they are all really talk a lot about shipping. Okay. I had my first show and sold one item in 2 hours. How long does it take to sell more volume typically? Bella, it depends. I wish there was an easy answer on that. It took me months. It took me a good 6 or 7 months to get to a point of selling. Crafty Fairies, you got that giveaway. Congratulations. Some people come on here and they're hit right away. You've just got to be consistent about it. How about the next mistake people could take is undervaluing rare or discontinued items. I know, I've said it a million times already, the buyer creates the value. However, depending on what you're sourcing it for, or if you know you have something, I wish I already shipped them out, that is super rare, is super unique, you may not want to do it for $1. You may not want to do it for $5. There are certain things you can still give a good deal and let the buyers value it up. So understanding what you have. You don't want to come on here with an original Van Gogh piece of art that you got at the garage sale and you didn't know if it was a Van Gogh piece of art and sell it for $5, right? You don't want to be that person. So at least understand what you're selling for the most part if you're a niche seller. Now, if you're getting large pallets and you are a liquidating seller, a speed seller, you don't care. It's a pallet full of stuff. But when you're doing vintage or maybe rare clothing could be some of it, jewelry, you want a little bit of education, a little bit of knowledge on what you're selling. Let me just see if I miss anything in the chat. How come lately I've seen brand new people with their first show with hundreds? It is, Bluebee, it is because, and other people may have already answered you, it is because Whatnot pushes people's first shows. Those people are going to get a really bad slap of reality by show 3 when they get 5 people who show up to their show instead of the 60 or 70 that they had in their first couple of shows. I don't agree with Whatnot doing it, but it's not my game to run. It's somebody else's. But that's what happens. Whatnot pushes the first show. I think it sets unrealistic expectations for new sellers. I use promotions, and you typically sell 3 to 4 times more than what I spent on the promotion. I see it as a cost of business. Mama's Gifts from the Grotto. You are one of the first people that I've heard that sees value in promotions. And there may be. I take the stance on promotions that until Whatnot can provide me validated data that they work, I'm not going to spend my money on it. Right now, there is no data showing the connections that these sales are directly related to my promotions. And I'm just a data-driven person. That's how my brain operates. I've started doing reduced shipping last week. I paid a total of $40 out of pocket, but I think it was worth it because exactly right there. Moni's curated corner. This is it, right? Exactly. I do free shipping on my Saturday shows. Does it cost me a ton of money? Absolutely, it costs me money. Do you know what? Every single show that I have done, and I don't say this as a bragging way, I say this to support your point. Every show that I have done since I've gone to dollar starts and free shipping has been a sold out show. Every single show. I'm making enough to cover the cost of that. It is well worth it. There is an offset to it. So yes, I'm paying money. I'm getting more buyers, more people in my room. I think people need to take advantage of the first show, first week, get followers and sales. Yeah, it is up to you to keep it. Yep, exactly, Moody. Okay. We talked about undervaluing. Here's the last mistake that a lot of people make with pricing. Overcomplicating your pricing. Keep it simple. It's that KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid. There is no need to overcomplicate your pricing. Pick a method, pick something that works for you, and go for it. Try it out, analyze it, and if it doesn't work, then you can change it. But it doesn't have to be some super complicated model. Keep it simple. The simpler it is, the easier it is for you to maintain it, to keep going with it, and to analyze it at the end of the day. If you have some complicated model, I'm going to price this way on Tuesdays and this way on Sundays, and for this week, because it's before Christmas, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to switch and do this. How are you ever going to know what you did? Did it work? Did it not work? Exactly. There's a reason people are attached to minimalism, and not just in design, but in life, in efficiencies. Thank you so much, Hyperfixated Mama. All right. Let's just remember, kind of big thing. At the end of the day, this all comes back to how the buyer feels. And I know you're all like shaking your head. You're like, Tracy, pricing has not. How is that how the buyer feels? But it is, because the buyer is going to ultimately set your price. Let's think about these. I'm going to go through 3 scenarios. We're going to play a little game here. I'm going to tell you 3 different things, and I want you to respond with how it makes you feel. Okay? I'm a seller, and I'm pretending I'm going to sell my butter pats again. These are our examples today. All right? So I wrote 3 things out. So I may read my script a little bit because I want to make sure I get this right. So you're in my show, you're watching me sell, and I'm like, hey, y'all, check out these butter pats. I got these at a garage sale for 50 cents. Can you believe that I only paid 50 cents for these at a garage sale? And I don't think that lady knew what she had. I'm going to run them for $20 right now. How does that make you feel as a buyer? Nope, you know that I paid 50 cents and I'm going to ask you to pay 20. It's like I'm saying, right, okay, because it doesn't make you feel good. Now, what about this way? I can do it like this. I'll give you $1. Hey, we're all Southern Charm. You're going to pay 25 for these now. Okay. All right. How about this one? Let's try a new scenario. Let me read my notes to make sure I'm getting this right. Okay. Hey, y'all. Check this out. I got these butter pats. I got a great deal at the auction. I was able to get these, at a really good deal. And I can't wait to pass the savings on to you. So I'm going to start these for $20. Make you feel a little bit better? Closer? No, we're still like, we're still in the middle. Okay. Let's try this one. See, you guys have gone from nope to maybe. Now we're lukewarm. What about this? Oh my God, you guys, look at these butter pats. Have you ever seen anything so cool? Look at the crazing on this. I love these butter pats. Are you ready? I'm about to start these. Okay, I'm going to run them for $20. A little bit better? Actually, thank you. What's the difference here? I went from, this is how much I paid, giving you all this information, to, look how cool these are. Look at how much you're going to love these. Look at these cool features. And then you determine, I'm going to start it for 20. You're determining the value, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to pay 20 for that. So now that you see these 3, I'm sure you're going to notice these more in other sellers' rooms as you're kind of looking. It's about how it made you feel. Pitch, pitch, pitch. There you go. You can excitement, quality. You went from your income to their value. Thank you, Crystals. You've summed it up right there. So think about that in your pricing, okay? It's not what you're saying about the item also ties into the pricing. Now, every now and then, it's not bad. It's not the end of the world if you're like, oh, check this out. Look at the comps are like this. There's certain items, particularly in my reverse auction, that maybe it's super unique. If you have those items, the MSRP, I don't think you should. Who cares what the MSRP? If I wanted to pay MSRP, I would be at Kohl's paying MSRP, right? And that's my opinion. Again, everybody do you. These are all my opinions. Take them for what they're worth. Some of it may mean something. Other of them, you're like, no, I'm not going to listen. And that's okay. Stop posting videos of you at the thrift store and showing what you're buying and the price. Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't get me started. I'm right with you there, TuckFin. If you love it comes through to your buyers. Yeah. I mean, you can get excited about things. Look at some of your favorite sellers. And I want to say this because there's certain people on here that are pretty popular that I'm like, well, I'm not so sure. But the ones I watch, none of them ever talk about what they paid. Look, we all know you're making money. That's why we're here, right? Every single one of people who buy in my shows know that I'm making some sort of a profit. When I buy from people, I know they're making some sort of a profit. That's the bottom line. That's why we're here. I don't need to know how much profit you made because it doesn't make me feel good. And if you want your buyers to spend more money, you need to make them feel good. I mean, I can't make it any more simpler than that. I don't like when sellers start at $1 and then it's like bid. I paid more for that. Exactly. And being a dollar seller, if I'm not willing to take $1 for it, then I shouldn't do that. Like, I'm going to be just as happy for you by getting it for $1 than I am if you pay 10. Now, that's what you're going to see behind the scenes. I'm like, okay, yeah, I took a hit on that one, but it's up to me to set my pricing, right?
Good morning, Afro Beauty. Good morning, Sassy Vintage Chick.
Some of them drop subtle hints. You know, when I was going back, I think every now and then, if it's something that people aren't really aware of, they don't know what it is, to mention comps, I think it's okay. But if that's like your whole model, you may want to rethink that just in the way that it makes the buyers feel. If I don't feel like I'm getting a deal, if I know you paid 50 cents and I'm paying $20, I'm like, ugh. I actually had this happen to me. I was at an antique store. My husband was with me. This is before he went in the hospital. We're at an antique store, a bunch of booths, antique booths. I know they're just like me, people who own the booths. They're probably going to Goodwill. They're going to estate sales. They're getting good deals. This is how they stock their booths. I'm totally okay with that. There was a price tag for $19. What was it? It was some type of glass dish. And it was like $19. I loved it. I picked it up, showed my husband, like, oh, I want this, okay? We're walking up there. I happened to turn it over, and there's the Goodwill sticker for $3.99 on the bottom. My good deal, the feeling, I thought at $19 I was getting a good deal. I was excited about it. Just seeing that sticker instantly kind of made me go, ugh. Because I shop at Goodwill, I'm like, geez, maybe I could have found this. Maybe I'll find it next time. Or, I put it back. I didn't buy it. It changed my perception and my feeling so much that I just didn't buy the item. And I told the people working at the cash register, I'm like, you might want to remind your booth owners to take the price tags off the items. I don't like when people yell at buyers. Oh yeah, don't yell at your buyers. How do you feel about people in the chat saying how much the item is selling online? I don't like it. People in the chat saying how much, leave it out. I think just leave it out unless the seller asks for that information. It affects the sale. You're either going to make it go too low or it's going to be overvalued. Either way, it doesn't end up well for me. So I personally don't like people bringing comps into my chat. I watched a show where a seller only ran after pre-bids hit what she wanted for items. I watched to see how that worked for a total trial. Cynthia's Attic. There is a big time seller who does that. So there is a big time seller who will put things, pre-list an item, and you can pre-bid, and they'll start it at $1, but they have some price in their head. Maybe it's 15, maybe it's 20, I don't know. And if the pre-bids don't hit that, they will never run the item. I agree. It's deceitful. It's dishonest. It's like a bait and switch type tactic.
Yes, I for Beauty. That's totally you.
Oh yes, I for Beauty. we're all going to see this. Not everybody's perfect. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I do things I'm sure people are like, what the hell, Tracy? Why'd you do that? We're all going to do that. However, if you see it being done consistently by certain buyers, just don't shop there. We have the ability to swipe when we want to swipe. We just don't need to buy from the people that we don't feel good with, right?
Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron. Do you vary the time of day for shows? Pengy patterns, I would suggest picking a consistency. I think, man, my phone's going crazy. A consistent time of day, a consistent day and a consistent time for at least one show every week, because your buyers, just like a sitcom on TV, they come to expect you being on at a certain time and day. Not everybody's going to remember who you were. Just because you were wonderful and they had a great time in your show and they bought something and they got that item from you, 2 weeks from now when they're surfing whatnot, they might not remember your name, but they'll be like, oh, remember it was a Tuesday night, being right after dinner around 6 o'clock, and there was that really good seller on. That's what they will remember until they get to become really familiar with you. So having at least one show that's on a consistent day and time each week, I feel will help you get established and help you grow. The rest of them vary. Figure out what works for you, but start with one that's consistent. Do I research every item you sell? You always know the value. I do not research every item. I think after you've been doing this for a while, you tend to just start to know some stuff. But I'll research certain items. If there's things that I'm like, that looks really interesting, or I haven't seen this before, I'll research it. I don't research every single item. I do sell things that I don't know about. And if I don't know about it, I'll tell the chat. I'm like, you may be getting the best deal of your life. I didn't have time to look up this at all. Here you go, $1. Go for it. If you know what it is, you may be able to get a deal, or you may be like, no, I don't want it. So some of it just comes down to timing for me if I have enough time to research. I'm usually researching so I can decide if I want it in my reverse auction versus my regular auctions. I find it important just to have additional shows scheduled so you can absolutely always have another show. I would suggest multiple shows. Always have something else so people can go and bookmark you. Absolute perfect advice, a Monster Mama. Thank you so much. Does it help to have themed shows? I tend to just have a hodgepodge of everything. I think it's whatever brand you create. I think themed versus vintage variety is part of your brand and part of your experience. I do theme shows every Saturday. I've been doing them for a year now. And I think that people come to expect that from me. They know that when I'm doing a blue and white show, that's what you're going to get, blue and white. When I'm doing like this on this Sunday, primitive ironstone, some salvage. So if somebody's interested in blue and white but hates primitive, they're going to see Sunday show and be like, nah, but I'll catch you next week when you're doing blue and white. I find theme shows work very well to attract those buyers. However, if you are always doing vintage variety, people come to expect that, and there's some value in there of that surprise. What's coming next? What am I going to get? I may get some primitive, and I'm going to get some blue and white, and I'm going to get some farmhouse this week. So I think there's value in both, and it's how you set up your experience. Crystals, I have been surprised. The primitive is tomorrow? Primitive is Sunday. I have been surprised at some things I have looked at thinking they were worthless and finding they were crystals. Yeah. I've sold stuff only to realize like, dang, Tracy, that was probably worth a lot of money, but okay, they got a good deal. So yeah, I'm surprised sometimes too. You know what else I'm surprised at? It's just like when I held up the butter pets earlier and I'm like, what would you pay for these? As a buyer, what would you pay for these? I get very surprised at sometimes I will go to sell something and in my head, I'm thinking, as a buyer, I'd pay $6 for that. And then all of a sudden that same item bids up to $15 or $20. Sometimes I'll look at my husband and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, what did I miss? What do I not know about this? That doesn't happen all the time, but there is times in shows where I'm like, that took me by surprise. Oh, you've been waiting for the primitive. It's on Sunday. Cynthia, a reversed auction is where you go down instead of up. So we start at, we'll start at a number and we'll count slowly down. And the buyers in the room get to pick the starting point. So I'll do 70, 65, 63, 60. And when they put an R in the chat, that's the bidding price we'll start it at, or the auction price it starts at. If you guys want to see how it works, we do November 1st. We just had one. It is on YouTube. So you can go and watch bits of that and you'll see exactly how the reverse auction works. Is that one gold? I do a reverse auction. Oh, when am I running those butter pats? I'm actually doing butter pats Sunday. So if you guys, I have a few, not a lot, but I do have a few. Some of those that go for higher because of buyer. Yep, the sentiment. That's what we were talking about. Hyperfixated mama is creating that feeling in the buyer. The more, I'm not a proponent of sit here and talk forever about your item. I like to keep a pretty good pace going in my shows. But sometimes telling the story helps create that feeling, because a lot of times, remember, people have whatnot going on while they're packing, while they're doing dishes. They may not be watching, but they may hear, oh, look at this mixing bowl. Look at the flowers on this mixing bowl with the crazing. And all of a sudden their mind goes to, Grandma had that same mixing bowl. And they stop what they're doing and they look at the screen. So you do need to have some good descriptives going on. All right, what else? Let's see. So we talked about that. Okay, that's all I have on pricing. I've got a couple other topics we can talk about. I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer. So if you guys have questions, keep putting them in there. Your faster pace makes the algorithm favor you. I don't know if it makes the algorithm favor me. What I do think the algorithm likes is continual sales. So the more sales you have, which a faster pace, more sales, hopefully. Lucy's Barn. As a new seller, I can't do lower starts. Okay, that's cool. I have to start it at what I want to sell it for. I don't have the traffic to build stuff up. And that's totally okay, Lucy's Barn. But knowing that, so if you know that, how are you going to make that work in your favor? You don't have to do dollar start. That do not give me. I am not telling anybody this is what they have to do. If you're doing what you need to start it for, that's great, because you know then you're going to make a profit and you're not going to go in the hole. It's a good way, a good base to build a business on. But how are you going to make that work for you? Are you niche? Are you really going to explain items and create that FOMO? How are you helping those buyers get to the decision of buying that item from you? So it's not just the price you started at, but it's how you're selling it that goes hand in hand. The price is just one piece. It's just a piece of this big puzzle. So how are you making those people feel? How are you creating FOMO, scarcity? Maybe you do have 3 or 4 of these, but this is all you're going to get. How are you bundling things together? I do with my china. Some people love it, some people hate it. But when I have sets of china, I'm not going to sell you a whole set. I'm going to sell you a place setting. I'm trying to do it a little bit differently. What are you doing to help that buyer come to the decision to buy from you? What's your environment like? Is it clean? Is it nice? Are you being personable? Are you talking to them in the chat? Do you have good lighting? Are you giving good description? So it's all of this. What kind of music do you have going on? Are you playing it lawfully? When I say lawfully, it means royalty-free music. I'm a stickler for that. So it's all of that. Look at your full picture. Go into some rooms. You know what? The other day I sold two vases for a really high dollar amount. Now, it was greatly discounted from what I had them listed at. It was still a very high dollar amount. And it blew me away that somebody, I'm like, wow, these sold. Like, I've had them for a while and they sold. But it's about the experience that you're creating. I have some time.
Celeste, that's all me.
Oh, that's the hubby. He's my tech guy. Oh, do it, Crystals. Try it and say, I find that that's worked for me. So, I mean, for the most part, I'm hoarding frames in my house. I think I should list some. Absolutely. Go ahead and list some. And think about that too. Think about the uniqueness. And this is where you can watch other sellers. We're deviating a bit, but we're just talking. You can watch other sellers to get ideas. Doesn't mean that you're like copying. Anybody wants to do a reverse auction? I copied it from Jeremy. Jeremy was totally okay for it. Go copy it. I was talking to I Love Discounts. They're getting back into vintage. And they're like, well, we talked about reverse auctions, but I don't want to copy you. I'm like, copy me. Go for it. Like, I don't care. Small Town Finds. That's so good. I'm glad you like them. But watch other sellers. If you're selling frames, Can you put a picture in there? Can you get a piece of art? Can you find an old art book and pull out a page from an old art book and put it in there? Would that make the frame sell better? Because there's a nice, pretty picture of a flower or a bird or whatever. What else can you do when you're selling something? What can you do to make it more sellable? I finally, for the life of me, for the longest time, I kept watching Upcycled by Brie. Besides being bubbly and cute, I'm like, okay, so she's cute, but her main audience is women. So you're not selling that. That's not what you're selling. What is it? What's the draw? Because there's a definite draw. And I'm not saying this in any negative way whatsoever. I was genuinely fascinated on what is the secret to her success. And you know what I finally came on? Her presentation. One, she gets some great items. So she has a good eye. She just really knows how to put things together. And it's the presentation. It's how they're shown in the background or how she presents it. And it's like, oh, I want that. I want all of that because that looks so pretty together. And then she'll sell it off in pieces. And one day it clicked on me when I was watching her. So what are you doing to help create that? Oh, I want that in your buyers. Getting pricing right is good for your whole category. Nothing works than being on a train and someone is way underselling similar items and you follow. BBA, that's kind of hard because I personally don't feel there's this thing as underselling. I mean, because I'm a dollar start person, so I'm gonna start everything at $1. I do believe that there's generally overpricing. But also rate trains tend to be more about exposure than actual making dollars. Wonderful if you make dollars, bonus, love it. But rate trains are more about your exposure. Even a pretty scrap sheet. Yep, crystals, thank you. Yes, a scrapbook sheet. So think about what you're selling and how you can make it prettier or better or more attractive. And that's something I'm working on with some of my stuff. I don't always get it just right. I'll copy, I love discounts. I'll copy anyone. I don't perceive I copy people all the time. Now, I'm not just going to take their full show format and go and do it myself, but we learn from each other. I mean, that's the whole thing about watching other people. Yeah, cute and bubbly does work on women really well. That's not me, but cute and bubbly does work on a lot of women very well. I did a shelf in my hall with all vintage stuff. I didn't get that FOMO. I wonder if it looks like, I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, everybody likes different things. It's okay. Or is it just that I don't have the audience? Do you have a lead loss? Do you have a lead loss for raid trains? Oh, a loss leader. It's a one item that you would look at it that way. When I do raid trains, so I'm pretty selective on the trains that I get on. And usually the trains I get on are put on by CG Boomerang Echo. It's the battle of the best trains. So we're starting one banger item at $1. Other trains, I have a couple other trains coming up. I think it depends. I think it just kind of depends on the train. I'm going to be on a mid-century modern one. Is that what I'm coming up soon? So I guess it depends on what train it is. Oh, thank you, Cynthia. Crystal says, do you think major retailers ask permission to copy other retailers? Exactly. If it's not copyrighted, it's fair game. 100%. Thank you, Crystals. Totally agree. All right. Noah Baller, good morning. Let's talk about, I have a completely other topic. Really quick, because I want to introduce my tax and accounting stuff because since I canceled my Tuesday night shows, 3 quick things to do right now. I think we talked about a couple shows ago, we talked about stuff to do for year end, but 3 things you guys should be doing right now to prepare for tax season. Buy any supplies now. If you know that you're making a good profit this year and you want to reduce your taxable income, buy supplies now. Stock up. I just bought like 4 months worth of boxes and bubble wrap, packing paper. So you can spend a big amount on your shipping supplies now that last you out for next quarter. If you need to reduce your taxable income, making sure you're getting your mileage. Now's the perfect time. You have 6 weeks left. Start getting those mileage records together if you haven't done already. It's a chore. If you don't track properly throughout the year and you got to recreate, it's not a fun task and can take you a while. So put some time into your schedules over the next 6 weeks. Get that done. And then estimated taxes. Review your profit, know where you are before you get to December 31st. So you need to know, when I say if you need to reduce your taxable income, Amanda, I'll answer your question in a second. Southern Charm, don't start laughing. If you need to know where you are with your taxable income. If I've made a lot of money this year and I know I'm going to owe a lot of taxes, I want to buy my shipping supplies. I want to front load some expenses right now, don't I? But if I've already taken a loss, if I know I haven't made much money, then there's no reason for me to go spend hundreds of dollars on boxes. Okay, so knowing where you're at. Any taxes for those who are in the red on whatnot. Keep at it, keep tracking. I've been in the red for 2 years. I'm not afraid to say it for taxes. Remember, there's a difference. You have book income and tax income. I say this all the time. As of January 1st, you start right here. You're zero at both. Your goal is to have your book income come way up here and your tax income go way down here. All right, LLC, Amanda. I'm going to make this, I'll do this really quick. Those of you who know me, I won't get on my whole soapbox. LLC is a personal choice based on your business strategy and direction. Just because you have a business on whatnot does not mean you need an LLC. I do not have one. There's not a need for me to have one. Tax purposes, if you are a sole proprietor and you create an LLC, it gives you no additional tax benefit. No need to have one just for taxes. It's all based on what are your future plans? What kind of partners do you have? If you have, will you have? Do you own property? What kind of other assets do you own? What are your business goals? So there's a lot that goes into it. So I don't have one. I don't need one. If you're thinking about one, I would totally suggest talking to a CPA and a financial advisor and probably an attorney, at least one or some combination of those. And they can advise you if it makes sense for your business. All right. Let's see. What does tax-free, what about the tax-free? There is no tax-free aspect for an LLC. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but there's nothing about an LLC that's tax-free. Let's see. What is your strategy for tracking profit, expense, and income? So my strategy is I stay on top of my books. This year, I have tried out QuickBooks since January 1st. Sorry, I was trying to read the chat. I've been trying out QuickBooks. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to remain with them. I've been happy with certain aspects, but not happy with other aspects. So other than that, is the strategy is to stay on top of it, figure out what works for you, whether it's a spreadsheet, a pen and paper, a computer software program, and do it consistently so that you know where you're at and you can make decisions based on where you're at. Maybe asking about sales tax exemption. Make sure, okay, so if also depends on the platform, some require an LLC. So there's no selling platform, at least like none of the, like eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, like these platforms that require an LLC. There may be other like auction sites, like legit auction sites, like maybe a HiBid or something that may require certain businesses, certain business licenses, but not the platforms do not. Sales tax exemption. So that is totally separate than your federal tax. That's about the sales tax you pay. So every time you go somewhere, you pay sales tax depending on your state and your locality. A sales tax exemption is applied for through your state, and it makes it so that you don't have to pay sales tax. So what happens is it takes out the layer. The end user pays that tax, not you. I don't have one. It depends what you're doing, how you're sourcing, where you're selling, whether you need one or not. If you're buying wholesale, a lot of times they do require it. I don't buy wholesale, so it's not a requirement for me. So whether you need one or not would come back to what is your business strategy and what are you doing within your business. You don't need, okay, correct. QuickBooks has gone through a huge change this year, which has been, yes, they have. Maybe see if it gets better, yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure we're caught up. As a new seller that hasn't had my first show yet, would it be better to wait and start in January for tax purposes? I mean, we're so close to the end of the year. The CPA in me would say absolutely 100% yes to wait until January. It makes it clean and easy, and CPAs like clean and easy. The reseller in me on Whatnot says no, the best time to start was yesterday. So if you have 6 weeks. You're not going to have a lot of records. You will have to put a Schedule C on your tax return, the boutique. If you want to start. If you're just willing, it's 6 weeks. You're probably not going to make a huge amount of income to affect you that drastically in 6 weeks. The reseller in me says absolutely start. Mad Hatter says, I'm starting at a significant amount below zero on the balance sheet before I start deducting expenses. Anything special you should know? So you've put out a lot of money. When I read this, what I see is you've put in a lot of money in your business before you start deducting any expenses. There's not much you should know except to wait and see without knowing all the details. I would postpone if you already have such a loss. I would look at maybe not taking any more expenses this year. Anything you can postpone until next year. Any equipment purchases, larger purchases, shipping supplies that you can wait until January, because there's more of a chance that you'll get out of that and you'll be making profit next year. I would do that. However, it depends on your tax situation. And I say this because for me personally, me and my husband both work. Well, he just retired like 2 months ago, but we're a 2-income household. And then we have Whatnot. I pay taxes every year. I owe federal, Pennsylvania. I owe everybody and their brother taxes. So for me, having a loss on Whatnot helps me personally. So you have to look at your full picture. So I can't really answer that directly without knowing the full picture. I've never seen a drop in sales in January. Why? Okay. All right. Let's go on. I have one more thing I wanted to talk about, just because I think this is pretty cool. This is a Whatnot feature. Please still feel free to put any questions in. I'm just going to kind of keep talking about some other stuff that I thought was cool to bring to you guys. How many of you have used the roles and permissions in Whatnot? So
the Teams feature. How many of you know about the Teams feature and Whatnot?
So we have a what and a yes. Nope. Okay. If you are just you, like it's just me and my husband doing this, you're probably not going to use this a lot. But if you have anybody else helping you out, okay, well, he wants to explain it. Do you want to come on camera and explain it?
No, I'm just going to explain it by voice. So I wanna share with you my screen real quick so you can understand a little bit better what is it that I'm talking about. So what you have here in front of you, it's just the Whatnot app. If you look at the bottom right-hand side, you can see my account. You can see the logo on my account right there. It's a black little smudge on the bottom right corner. I have a separate account from my wife, which is Zoe's Treasures. She can send, as a owner of the account, she can send an invite to my account to become part of a team. And you can decide what type of team member you want. You can have an admin, you can have a seller, you can have support, you can have different types. There's about 5 types of different team positions. Each one of the team positions will give you different permissions to be able to help your seller. So the way it works is that once you accept that invite, now you're part of that team. If you click and hold on your account, you can see there that it says manage and it says one team. If I push the down arrow, you can see right there that it says personal and it says admin for Zoe's Treasures. The moment that I choose to select admin for Zoe's Treasures, what is going to happen is now my account is gonna mimic as if it was my wife's. And I can go ahead and assist her with pinning items, doing raids, even creating or starting auctions. So this is very helpful for those of you who has someone else who's helping you out and you're distracted by just talking about the item and you want the other person to pin and run the item for you. So if you have someone that you trust, who's very trustworthy, or a family member that you would like to help you out with this feature, what you need to do is you need to send them an invite, select the role that you want to give them, and then they'll be able to select that role under that account. And then once they're logged on, they will be logged on with the permissions that you set, and that would allow them to help you. I don't know if there's any questions.
Cool. And there's a perfect example in, if you guys are looking at chat, Southern Charm, who was on Vintage Wars, the very last episode of Vintage Wars, and her daughter Brittany, which is Be With Her, right underneath her name there. So they use this to allow Brittany to accept offers, because Southern Charm's there, she's selling, and if you guys knew Vintage Wars, it was fast. She like 1 million items in 30 minutes.
Secondhand Serenade, yes, that can also be remote. It doesn't have to be on the same location.
And so then Brittany was at another location able to accept all the offers on her behalf. So this is just a cool feature that my husband's like, hey, I've been using this. Check this out. Go tell people about it. So, oh, thank you. My husband and I has the only income, and it's Social Security. I am getting ready to start Whatnot. Is there a certain amount I have to make to claim? Yes, anything over $300 you have to put on your tax return. Now, it may not be taxable to you, but as a reseller, if you make $300 or more, you do need to report it. So what time is it? Oh, we're getting close. Let me do another giveaway, and we'll see if there's questions, and we may be wrapping up. But let's do this other giveaway. We are doing vintage postcard and Thanksgiving postcard. So just really quick on that team thing, he was talking about the different roles. I'm going to tell you what those roles are really quick. So you have the owner, which is all of us. Your main account, you're the owner account. Then there's an admin account. I'm not going to tell you what they can do. I'm going to tell you what they can't do because the list is shorter. You have to show the giveaway. Yes, Moody, that's a good point. Just a quick diversion. Those of you who are unaware, it is in terms of service. When you are doing a giveaway, you must show what you're giving away at the beginning of the giveaway or somewhere in there. So you have an admin. The only thing the admin cannot do is delete the account, edit the payout details, or change a password. But they can do pretty much everything else if you give somebody an admin role. They have a seller role. For the sellers, they really all they can do is manage your inventory, helping with shipping to fulfill orders so they can get to your shipping screen. They can schedule shows, go live, and they can communicate with customers so they can get your messaging.
Miss Paula, I'm gonna bring that screen again for you. If you're on the Whatnot app, the bottom right-hand side, you can see my account. If you push and hold that account, if you click on that account, you can see that I'm part of one team right there. If you click the down arrow, it gives me the option to switch from my personal account to the Zoe's Treasures admin account. So you can find it on the accounts, but the owner of the account, which is Zoe's Treasures, they have to send an invite to the account that they want to assign the role.
Out and About Vintage, I don't think you can do dual sales yet. I've heard that that's coming, but I don't think that's a capability as of now. So besides the seller role, who can actually edit shows, go live, accept cancellation requests, the next one's a support role. The support role is a little more limited. They can create inventory, so they can manage your inventory. They can ship and fulfill orders and talk to customers. So seller can actually go live. Your support is more shipping and inventory management. And then that's it. So those are the roles that you can have. And you can change roles after you've assigned them. You give somebody one role and you decide you want to give them a better one, you can do that after the fact. But it's kind of a cool feature that do you know where the setup is in the seller accounts?
Yes, it's I think it's under your seller hub. Let me see if I can find it for you. I'm looking for the instructions right now.
And we have Chosen Blessing Shop. How do you get to 5 stars? Be a good person. That's really all there is. To get to 5 stars, do what's right. I don't know how to put it. Like, that's probably the most simplest explanation ever. Ship on time. So make sure you're shipping within the 2 days. Describe your items appropriately so your customers don't get pissed off at you. So if there's cracks, if there's chips, make sure you're telling them about it. If there's holes or stains, you're going to get less than 5 stars when you piss off your customers. So take care of your customers, do what's right, and you'll keep up, your rating will stay up.
I got it.
Yes, your stars are based on your reviews. They're 100%. Your star rating is based on the reviews. So that's why I say, do what's right, take care of your customers, and your rating should reflect that.
Okay, here we go. So you can see right there, I'm on a browser and I'm under my wife's account. If you click on the account on the top, there's an option in there under, let me see, where is it? Shipments, wallet, no. It was, I just saw it. Sorry guys, give me a second. I just saw it just not long ago.
Let's see if I wrote the instructions here. Hold on.
In Seller Hub, I'm sorry, I think it's in Seller Hub. Not necessarily there.
Yeah.
I just saw it.
Oh well, look, if you go to the FAQ right there, but you don't need to do it. But if you go to the FAQ and you type in roles and permissions, it'll bring up all the instructions on roles and permissions, detail out what they are. That's what I did. I just went into the Whatnot FAQs.
Auntie Barbie, yes, we're multicasting to YouTube.
Let's see. Hold on. I missed a question from Amanda. When setting up for a show, Jojo Loves Cats, you got that giveaway. Congratulations. Thank you. Amanda says, when setting up for a show, how do you use a phone for videoing and a computer for writing your items? Amanda, that's super easy. So start your show on your phone. And then once your show started, just hit open show on your computer. And then you can run it from your computer. Let's see. Well, yes, the show is on YouTube. And Auntie Barbie, I think my husband answered you already. I see more sellers doing silent auctions now. I thought that wasn't allowed. This is kind of a gray area, and I've heard conflicting advice. My understanding of terms of service, again, go read terms of service so that you can get the actual explanation and interpret it to be what you think it should be. But you can't just put some items on the screen with a sign that says "Go shop the bin," and do nothing. There has to be activity. You have to be talking, either showing stuff. You have to be doing something. So you can't just put a sign that says "Go shop my bin." So you turn your show on and you leave and you go out and do your thing and your show's running in the background with no activity. That's my understanding, that there has to be some type of activity in the show. Yeah, they're annoying. I agree, Brittany. I don't like the silent. How to buy or give a low review because the postal service on there and took too long, dropped me down a few points. It'll come back. And small town fines. You know what I think is a great feature? I'm not utilizing it as much as we should. We started to, and then when my husband was in the hospital, we kind of got behind, is we can reply to our comments, our reviews. We can reply to good and bad reviews. I think it's a good idea. We tried to start replying to all reviews just so that it wasn't like, oh, I'm only going to reply to you if it's bad. But if they give you a bad review, you can always reply, I'm so sorry the post office took too long. I do hope you enjoyed your items. I caution on the reply, make sure it's a nice professional reply. Don't degrade your buyers. Some of these people, I don't know if you guys I read reviews and I have seen some of these reviews and the seller is like, well, that's just too dang bad. I hope you have the day you deserve or whatever. And I'm like, man, that's bitchy. And it doesn't give me a good impression. So make sure you're very nice even if they ripped you to shreds, their behavior does not mean that their bad behavior does not mean that I need to have bad behavior as a seller. So, let's see. So what would be the purpose of, I have no idea, Cynthia's Attic, the purpose of a silent auction. I don't get them. I don't understand them. I'm hoping it's a fad that will go away very soon. A bad review, I don't think a customer can. Whatnot has the ability, but getting them to do it that's like moving a mountain.
Once, if you're on the app, once you submit the review, the even the customer doesn't have the chance to submit the review. You can send a message to the seller, but once it's done, it's done.
You know, we all make mistakes. We're all going to screw something up and get a bad review every now and then. That's life. It happens. If 99% of your reviews are good reviews and you get that one person who maybe had a bad day, maybe their kid did something, got in trouble at school, and they're pissed off and they got their item broken from you and they just let you have it in the review, answer it politely and move on. The more you sell, it's going to wipe that out. The more good reviews you get are going to offset that. It happens. Don't let it like ruin your whole day. If I'm a firm believer in, if you are doing what's right and doing your best, everything else will fall into place. Just apologize, keep on moving. I got a review said the item was, nope, I missed it. My chat's like bouncing. I got a review said the item was smaller than they thought, exact measure. People don't read out and about vintage. I totally get it. But people don't read, and it is what it is. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Just one side note, I found it. It is if you click on your account, there's something that's called account permissions, and if you do that, it'll lead you to this page. So right there, you can see on the top it says invite. If you push that button, you know the username or the email address of the account. You can send the invite from there. For some reason, when you're on the browser, if I minimize it to make it fit in the screen, it just does not show me that option.
All right. With that, do good reviews help your algorithm? I always try to leave a review when I buy. I have no idea how the algorithm works. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't know if any of us know. I do have a feeling that the more you're doing things that benefit Whatnot, the probably higher up you're going to go in the algorithm, because that makes business sense. But reviews are good to create confidence in you as a seller. If I am brand new and I'm going into somebody's show, and even if they have 5 stars or 4.9 stars, I'm going to go and just kind of look at reviews really quick. One, if they do have a bad review, how they reply gives me a lot of information about that person. But I usually will just scan them very quickly. If they have anything less than a 4.8, I am definitely looking to see what's going on, and is whatever's going on to make them have lower stars, is that acceptable to me? Like, do I still feel comfortable buying from that person? So having the reviews, it builds confidence in your future buyers, is how I view them. I don't shop at people at more than a 2-day ship rate, because Whatnot says ship within 2 days. They do. The policy says ship within 2 days. I'm going to be honest. There are some shows, 98% of my stuff is going to go out. I think I have a 99.8 is my current rating right now with my health and analytics for shipping. I do have stuff occasionally that goes out on day 3. It happens. I work full time. If I sell a little bit too much, sometimes I have stuff to go on day 3. However, it's not everything. It's if I had 50 orders, it may be 2 of them that go out on day 3. I try not to. It does happen sometimes. But even I'm not doing that with everything on a regular basis, I feel that that's okay. But this is a good point too, especially for you new sellers. Don't sell more than what you can ship. I mean, that's a huge concern. Don't sell more than what you can ship. Let's see. I hate sassy. Yeah, I don't like a sassy reply. All right, y'all. I think we're gonna go. I think we're hitting around 9 o'clock. I do have to get to my day job. I only have one hand. Yeah. So that's the other thing. If you do for your shipping, if you do shows on, that's why you see so many shows on Friday and Saturdays, because then we have till Tuesday to ship and you get a little buffer. That's part of the reason there's so many shows on Fridays and Saturdays. But with that, let's go find somebody to raid. Thank you all for hanging out with me this morning. I do appreciate it. Come back and see me on Sunday. We're going to be doing primitive, but still want to sell. What's the rule if you're not feeling well, but still want to sell? Let me answer this real quick and then we'll go raid. If you're talking about like going live and you're not feeling well, if you can't give it your all, I would postpone it. I would reschedule your show. If you can't give it your all, it will come through and it will affect your sales. The people in your room they feed off of your vibe. If it's about shipping, you don't feel well, maybe you shouldn't sell it if you can't ship it. And I don't mean that to be harsh, but if you're not feeling up to the second part of the job, the first part is selling, the second part is shipping, then don't do the selling. Then postpone it until you do feel well enough to do it, or have some type of assistance. Looking for Oklahoma and 4 states. There you go, y'all. Look at Faye West is looking for people in those states. Please reach out to her if you know her, or if you're in those states. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna go raid. Y'all have a great weekend. We're gonna go see our friend Zodi over at Natural State High.
Honey, what are you doing?
Nothing?